Listen, I can understand why Xbox fans are upset. I'm not personally upset over this particular piece of news, but I understand why Xbox fans in general are upset because, we're living in kind of a world where Microsoft has promised a lot of things. They promise, great first party lineup, and, some of these things have not come to fruition. For me personally, we're in 2024 and they've been promising these same things since, 2018 roughly. So I can understand definitely where that frustration and anger comes from. We've been, waiting long enough for something to kind of come out at this particular juncture, and it just hasn't really hit home yet. And that is the super unfortunate part about all of this, because, we're waiting and waiting and waiting, and Microsoft just seems like they're keeping us on the hanger. Like, okay, yeah, that stuff is definitely coming. Keep subscribing to Game Pass because it's definitely coming. It's like, listen, we've all been, subscribing now. Granted, my Game Pass has pretty much been, I took advantage of the gold transference and got years at a time, multiple times. And so, obviously I'm not paying the full amount that some people are paying now, but it's like eventually that'll run out. And I have to be honest, if that were to run out, like say this year, I wouldn't have re-upped, because at the end of the day, there's nothing. They haven't really released anything. It's like Hellblade 2. Nobody played that. I played it, but it just wasn't it's not my bag. It's just, I can't help it. It's just really not my thing. But, when you see stuff like this, like I said, people get really upset. It looks like Stalker 2 has been delayed again. It was originally planned for September. Now listen, you got a war going on, so I understand that. This isn't specifically about Stalker 2 per se. It's just about like all these games that have been promised for a long time. It's becoming a situation where this stuff is kind of becoming redundant. So in a new video titled Really Again, developer GSC World announced today that the game will now launch November 20th instead of September 5th as previous planned. They said, and I quote, "We know you might be tired of waiting and truly appreciate your patience. These 2 additional months will give us a chance to fix more unexpected anomalies, or simply put, bugs as you call them. Stalker 2 is shaping up to be everything we envisioned, with the launch nearly here, and we are incredibly excited to share more with you. To give you a taste of what's coming, we're thrilled to announce the Stalker 2 developer deep dive video, which will be released on Xbox Media channels on August 12th. This detailed update will include exclusive interviews, lots of new footage, and a full video walkthrough of one of the game's quests. We can't wait for you to see it, and a comprehensive understanding of how the game looks and plays." Stalker 2's exact release schedule has been in doubt since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, obviously, in February 2022, and at the time, GSC World said World was based in Kiev, but it has since partially relocated to the Czech Republic. So it's supposedly this is the new release date, and that's when it's going to release. Listen, for me, I totally understand it. There's certain things where you are maybe a little bit more frustrated with a game delaying. I don't think that people are necessarily taking their anger out that this is delayed specifically. It's just that, as Xbox fans, we have 0 games from the Xbox first party that has a release date, right? It's like, we're more than halfway through the year and nothing has been kind of given a release date for us. So I can understand that kind of frustration. I'm not necessarily frustrated at Stalker 2. Again, the game looks good for what it is, but it doesn't look like it's a game that it really is going to be something that I want to play. I think that it looked, like I said, graphically it looks great. I'm sure that there's a audience for this. People have liked the Stalker games in the past or whatever. I guess they're from the people that also do or used to do like the Metro series or whatever. So I can understand that, you know what I mean? It's kind of similar to that or whatever, which I never got into the Metro series either. So, it's just one of those things where I'm kind of sitting here going, it's kind of is what it is, But I can understand, like I said, the frustration on not being better in tune with when the Xbox games are releasing, because believe it or not, in my opinion, and I've mentioned this multiple times before, the last AAA exclusive from the first party that we got from Xbox was indeed Forza Motorsport, which again, that's, even if, that is a AAA game, but that having a motorsport game, a sim racing game, is a niche game in and of itself. So, then you fast forward all those months later and we finally get Hellblade 2, and that's an incredibly niche game as well. So people are kind of like stuck with games that maybe aren't their bag or what have you. So, you know, again, I understand not every game has to be for every person, but I also feel like at some point you have to be able to deliver for your platform, because you know this is like year 4 and I feel like Xbox hasn't really delivered. And it's not just an Xbox thing. I'm not throwing Xbox under the bus. I can understand why people are furious or whatever, but it's like we're sitting here waiting and we still haven't got anything that's realistically mind-blowing, or that says, oh man, this is why you should only play it on Xbox, this is why you should buy an Xbox. It's like, it's sad to think that college football is the thing that's pushing Xboxes more than, say, like a Starfield and things like that. And trust me, I love Starfield, but I can understand why some people weren't a big fan, and I can understand why some people, at the end of the day, kind of look at that as a disappointment and not something that, like, oh, groundbreaking in terms of what it should have been. Like, I think the game itself is really great, but, people disappointed because of the load screens, or the fact that you can't have a vehicle to drive on these places, or some of these other things. There was no maps on the, like, I can understand why people were disappointed with it, and so wouldn't rush out and buy an Xbox to play this game. So again, we're starting to see kind of what happens when this happens time and time again. And again, Microsoft probably won't really respond to this or do anything. It's not like they're going to rush out and go, okay, well, Stalker 2 got delayed, so let's go ahead and announce some release dates for Indiana Jones and Avowed and whatever else the case may be. I don't really know what else is coming, but it's like, even the Starfield DLC, we have no clue when that's going to actually come out. And it's a very frustrating situation, to say the least. And I want to kind of hold out hope that we're going to get news before too long, because, like, we deserve it. I think at the end of the day, a lot of us has been paying a bunch of money for Game Pass and things like that, and then we keep seeing, hey, we don't get what we wanted. That's a really unfortunate thing, to say the least. So hopefully they can go out there and change that, and like change people's minds and things like that. But again, with having so many games delayed, and like I can understand it. Like, I knew that we'd get delayed games because of the Fodemic and stuff, but to see the level of just Microsoft in particular doesn't seem to really give much of a transparency when it comes to its development. It's like, oh yeah, this game's coming out, but we're not going to give you a real kind of idea on when it's coming out. I think that is a big problem. You know what I mean? And I think that's a frustrating thing for people, because they think that, well, this game could end up getting delayed or whatever the case may be. And for me, I honestly hope that stuff doesn't end up getting delayed, because just because it might be a packed last few months of the year doesn't mean that you completely ignore the fact that you haven't delivered anything previously. It's like, okay, like, how bad would that piss somebody off if they delayed Avowed or whatever, right? And then we only get like an Indiana Jones and Hellblade 2 kind of situation, right? Like, that to me does not make a whole hell of a lot of sense, and that's why I'm kind of hopeful that we get something, regardless. I understand you don't want to drop everything on top of each other, but at the same time, you have to give people stuff to make them happy, and you have to, in my opinion, you have a lot to make up for. Like, Xbox, just being clear, they have so much to make up for when it comes to delivering for the fans, and the fact that they haven't been able to do that is frustrating and to the extreme. So I can understand people's frustrations. Maybe don't take it out on this particular instance, but I mean, this isn't a first party game, but it was something that they hyped up and that they paid for and made a deal for some type of timed exclusivity. I mean, it might not come to PlayStation in the 3 months that originally was planned because of all these issues, but at some point down the line, it's definitely coming to PlayStation. And so it's just one of those things where I can understand and sympathize with the Xbox fans. Maybe don't take it out on this particular case, but at the same time, I can definitely see why people are angry and frustrated. Maybe Microsoft can come out and make some announcements of their own first party to kind of make up for it. At least that would be kind of my hope. At the end of the day, will Microsoft actually do that? I don't really know. It's kind of hard saying. So, we'll see how that works out, and we'll see what Microsoft can do to kind of get people on board with the platform in the future. But anyway, I'm going to link this in the description. You guys can let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you guys want to leave a like, that would be great. If you guys want to subscribe, that would be great as well. And again, we'll catch you next time. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.